Okay, well, Asia, I'm Lisa. It's very nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you very much for talking with us today.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Okay, I'm here with Asia. She's a client of the Central Arizona Shelter Services in Phoenix, and we're going to talk to her a little bit about her story and how the services have benefited here at CAS. Well, to start with then, Asia, why don't you tell us your story? How did you come to be homeless and enter the Central Arizona Shelter Services program?
Okay, originally I'm from Virginia, and I moved out to Phoenix about 7 years ago, and my sister became ill in Virginia, so I decided I'll give a 30-day notice, go take care of her, and come back for a month or two, and I can come to CAS and stay and get another apartment. But
Right.
it didn't really work out like that. I've been here 6 months.
Oh, okay. When you initially arrived, were you staying with your sister, or when she was ill, when you first came out to care for her?
When I went out to Virginia, I went and stayed with my sister. I had an apartment in downtown Phoenix for almost 5 years.
Okay.
And I gave a 30-day notice, flew out to Virginia, stayed for 3 months.
Came back.
I came back. I went to Mexico. I came back for a night. I went to Mexico for a wedding. I got off the bus and called Comtrans, and they brought me to CAS.
Okay, so when you returned from the wedding, you didn't have a place to stay at
No.
that point. Okay. Okay. When you first became homeless, you were not ever out on the street without services. You immediately came here.
This is my second time actually of being homeless. I was in an extremely violent marriage, and my first time when I came to Phoenix, I just pretty much ran away and caught a bus and got the next bus leaving the parking lot, ended up in Glendale. I came out here and stayed in a DV shelter, and I got an apartment, and I've been in that apartment ever since for like almost 5 years now. And then when my sister got ill, so I was on the streets for a while when I was with my husband in Virginia, and that was pretty rough. They didn't have services like here in Arizona. I had heard about CAS, but I had heard a lot of horror stories, and I was really frightened to come here the first day. But none of those are true.
Oh, how interesting. Yeah.
The people that work here are so amazing. I can't imagine that people have such hearts like them to deal with what they deal with day in and day out. And they do it with a smile, and if you want help, they're here to help you.
That is terrific. Well, what kinds of activities or programs have you taken part in here at CAS?
I get into the housing program, like with you all, the interview, whenever anybody comes, and the schools come a lot and ask you to partake in different things so they can find out about homeless people and what their needs are. I go with the meals or housing mostly, and there's medical help here.
That's great.
Yeah, on a daily basis. There's also a little place down the street where people can go. They're 55 and older during the day to get out of the heat. So
that's terrific.
But CAS offers everything from medical to housing to spirituality and you know, pretty much everything here that you need. And they'll guide you. You have to do the footwork. They're not going to do it for you.
Right.
But if you're willing, they'll support you in any way they can.
So they're trying to build self-sufficiency in people, try to make people able to do things for themselves.
But the medical help is here if you need it. If you need an ID, if you need a birth certificate, you know, things like that get stolen when you're out there and don't have a home to live in or a place to keep them.
Of course.
You know, sometimes you don't have clothes or backpacks. They have that here. They can provide that for you.
Yeah, that's great. So pretty much everything a person might need to get back on their feet if the person's willing to do the work.
Yeah, your identification, everything. So,
that's
and
great.
they feed you along the way.
That's
and
great.
Give you water.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Yeah. So in the process of working your way back toward being self-sufficient, what have been some of the difficulties that you've run into? What's been the most challenging for you, would you say?
I think sometimes you lose hope. And that kind of puts a block up for you, because you get really frustrated from day to day just trying to get bus tickets, and they do help you with bus tickets
That's
here
great.
also,
That's
transportation, and
That's
there's a
great.
free bus too that comes out front. But my I have put in so many. I'm on 23 waiting lists for housing.
Wow.
23.
So that's how big the need is,
Right,
right?
but if you give up hope, then you're lost in the system. I just have to talk to the people that work here and
Right.
tell them how I'm feeling, and they uplift me and let me know that, okay, when one door shuts, that's because another one's going to open. So they have case management here. They have people that'll talk to you and, you know, keep you going, let you know that that's not the only place. There's other places, and they'll give you lists of places you can call and look for housing.
Do you have access to a telephone here?
Yes.
Yeah.
They do. They have a telephone right out front where you walk in that you can use.
Okay.
And there's also a payphone here. And of course, I have a personal phone. I've been blessed because I have income.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
that helps me, and being here has allowed me to save money so that when I do find a place, I'll be able to, you know, pay the rent and the deposit.
Right. That's
But
great.
there are also resources here that'll help you with the deposit and rent if you don't have it,
That is
and help
terrific.
get you in there.
That is terrific. Do you think your experience is typical of persons who are here for a while, that where the biggest challenge, or one of the biggest challenges, is the possibility of losing hope?
I think so, because people come here a lot of times. My friend is a pharmacist. He was a pharmacist for years. He lost his job. He lost his home. They lost everything, and for him to be an older man and find work was really difficult. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it does make you get kind of desperate sometimes.
Right. Right.
But they, you know, the case management is great here, and they provide you with newspapers, you know, so that you can look for work.
That's terrific.
And they'll give you a bus ticket. And actually, he has housing now, and he got a job as a pharmacist.
That's wonderful.
And so that gives me hope, because when I see somebody else, I'm like, okay, my turn's coming. I
Of
just
course.
have to be patient for it.
That's great. Well, going forward, looking at the future, what are your goals then for the next few months? What would you hope in what ways do you hope to progress in the next few months?
Well, I just mainly want to get my housing and get my health back on track. And maybe 6 months to a year from now, I would like to come back here, because I've learned so much that I feel like I could share, especially for women being homeless.
I'm
It's
sure.
really hard for a woman. I'm sure it's difficult for a man, but it's really difficult for women.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have a wealth of knowledge and experience
I've
that,
learned so much through this.
yeah.
And I keep thinking, you know, I've got to find a place soon, but I also feel like personally that there's a reason God has me here. And I don't know what that purpose is, but I know that my time will come, you know, to leave too. And hopefully that I could tell somebody else, maybe, you know, go this way or do this, and to help them with shortcuts or whatever.
Sure. And nothing you've learned has been learned easily,
No.
right? Yeah.
It's
This has
been
been
hard.
hard.
And it is a sad world, because there are some people who don't want help that come here and pretty much make a career out of it. But Cass is really good about seeing the people that really want help and need help, and weeding those out.
So at this point in your progress, since you came to Cass, at this point in your life, how do you feel about the future?
I feel good about it.
Yeah.
I've actually gained weight here, and I feel happy and at peace here.
That's
So
wonderful.
It's really weird to say that, being that I'm homeless and I don't have anything, but I have peace within, so you can't buy that.
Yeah, that's true. And you feel some optimistic about the future then?
Yes, I do. And I know that once I leave, if I have problems, I can come back and see Heather and talk to her, or Armida, or anybody that works here. You know, if I feel down or depressed, I'm sure I could come back and say, hey, I'm having a little rough time, or, you know, and they're going to be there to help me
Yeah.
and
So,
support me.
so even when you leave, your support system here remains connected to you.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think you're going to, I think once you've come here and gone through this program, you're going to remain connected some way the rest of your life with them. I'm just
yes.
so grateful. I'm so grateful that I have a roof over my head and a place to shower, and they even give you shampoo and soap and things like
Right.
that, you know, because
Yeah.
sometimes you just don't have the money. It's
Of course.
expensive being homeless.
Right, absolutely. What would you say? I have a feeling you're a big expert on life right now, a side of life that most people, the people watching this eventually, they have no idea, no idea. And you're an expert. What would you say you've learned about people or life or from your experience of being homeless that our audience ought to know about?
I've learned that the world is not full of bad people, that there are a lot of people out there with passion and love and willing to help everybody. I'm amazed at all the people and the big hearts that are here. And, you know, it's just nice to know that there are people still in the world that want to help you.
Right.
Because you never know. Anybody can be in my shoes at any given time.
That's right. That's right.
And
Yeah.
it's not something you expect or plan.
Right, of course.
So
Right.
to know that there's a place like this, I heard so many horror stories. I was so scared my first day. But once I got in here, and everybody in here comes to you with a smile and open arms. And they're willing to help you if you help yourself. And I found out that there's two sides to everything. There's a downside, and you can look at that and stay down, or you can look at the upside and wake up every day with a smile, and that helps you get through it.
Right, and it helps you keep going
Yeah.
and progressing. Yeah. Well, Asiyah, thank you so much
Oh,
for
thank you
sharing
for
your
having
story.
me.
Oh, it's our pleasure, believe me.